And welcome back to the Power Accountability League. I am your pal, Dan L. This is my channel, and I am known as the cowboy from Krypton who's related to Kal-El. Today's video is entitled TDS, T period, D period, S period. Now, that's an acronym. What does it stand for? Say that again? I couldn't hear you. Trump Derangement Syndrome. That's a very, very good guess. And under normal circumstances, you'd be correct. But I've decided to change the definition of TDS to Truth Derangement Syndrome. By the way, it has a lot in common with Trump Derangement Syndrome. You could say they're related to each other. So technically, you're not wrong if you said Trump Derangement Syndrome. But for this video, purposes of this video, I'm gonna reclassify it as Truth Derangement Syndrome. Now, I want to talk a little bit about Bill Whittle. Bill Whittle is another person on the right. I like Bill. He's one of the many forms of media that I consume, and that's my drug. I consume media, TV, movies, documentaries, radio, magazines, books, newspapers. I'm a junkie when it comes to consuming other people's ideas. Bill Whittle, I like Bill Whittle. I like his channel, and he recently had a video called Buyer's Remorse, and I've even heard Rush Limbaugh talk about, and many people on the right talk about buyer's remorse in regards to Joe Biden. Here's my response. You folks are pretending or acting like Joe Biden was bought and paid for by the electorate. He is bought and paid for, but not by the voters. He's bought and paid for by the elitists, the globalists, the puppet masters behind the scenes. Um, Joe Biden is not a legitimate president. He's not my president, and he's really not your president. He's the president of oligarchs. That's who he's the president of. And by president, I mean he's their lackey. He's their butler. He shines their shoes. So when I saw this video with Bill Whittle that said buyer's remorse, it bothered me because the right and the center and the left are all pushing the same narrative now that Joe Biden is a legitimate president. He was legitimately elected. Even Mike Pence said you lost. No, we didn't. The decent people, the actual people who are citizens who voted, the people who are allowed to vote, the people who are eligible to vote, those people did not lose. They won the election, and then it was stolen by the puppet masters, the rich and the poor. Well, you sound like Alex Jones. Like I said, I was going to wait 3 to 5 years to make this video. Remember, I made a video earlier, and I said it's going to take 3 to 5 years for the left to admit they stole it. But there was a miracle happened. I got very something miraculous that benefits me and benefits you and makes me very happy. Time magazine wrote the article about the shadow campaign, which is, you might as well just use the word shadow government. Because that when Trump was running in 2016, he was alluding to a shadow government. When he said swamp and deep state and bureaucratic state and the administrative state, he was alluding to a shadow government. We have a shadow government, which has come out of the shadows and seized control of the levers of power and is completely corrupt. You can't trust it going forward. Trust is gone. You cannot. Whoever gets elected from now on, you're going to say, was that a valid election? Now, I don't. We're gonna have to fight very hard to get it back. Integrity-driven elections. It's going to be a huge battle, but we're going to fight it. We're going to wage a battle to reclaim integrity in the American system of government. We don't have it now. And Joe Biden is not the president. He was selected by crappy people, by corrupt people, by people who don't believe in self-government, by people who don't believe in democratic institutions, who don't believe in a constitutional republic that has democratic elements. They don't. Those people selected who don't believe in those things selected Biden. I'm a little bit bothered when people act like, well, all these people who voted for Biden have remorse. No, the people who actually voted for Biden, they weren't the majority, but there was a lot of them. I totally give credit to the fact that there were millions and millions of people who voted for Joe Biden. None of them have remorse. Everything Joe Biden is doing, they wanted him to do. Now, of course, who is Bill Whittle and Rush Limbaugh and all these other conservatives? Who are they talking about? They're talking about the Never Trumpers. They're saying the Never Trumpers, many of them were part of this puppet master little group. And again, it's not even an organized group. It's just there are people in positions of power who couldn't stand Trump. And a lot of them were on the right, a lot of them were in the center. We know all of the left can't stand Trump. And so these people all there was an intersectionality. Some of them were working together knowingly, and some of them weren't even knowing. This Lincoln Project, run by a pedophile, The Never Trump or Lincoln Project, run by a pedophile. Anyway, co-founded by a pedophile. Anyway, these people, some of them were useful idiots for the left. So I don't buy into this buyer's remorse. And Rush Limbaugh, and I've covered this before, but I'm going to cover it again right now. Rush Limbaugh said, all of you people on the right and some of you people in the center who are saying we need to vote out the current people, they were never voted in. Decided they're raising. They've got campaign letters. Please donate to our campaign because we want to get rid of Biden. Biden shouldn't even be there. It's the people who are sending out the campaign letters. You're the reason Biden's in office. Because the Pences, the Mike Pences of this world, put Joe Biden where he's at. Because Mike Pence said, well, you lost. You have to deal with it. You have to accept it. Nope. I'm not accepting I lost because I didn't lose. When I do legitimately lose, I'll accept it. When I legitimately lose, when I have lost a battle where we had referees and they were integrity-driven referees, when there was a level playing field, when there was integrity throughout the entire process, I will accept the outcome. But we already know, especially we already know because of 2016 to the 4 years previous, because of how prevalent the Comeys and the Christopher Wrays and the Brennans and the Clappers and the Obamas and the Holders and the Lynches and the Lois Lerners, and I could go on, and the Sally Yates, I could go on and on forever, well, almost forever, telling you the people who were part of the system that are corrupt. And even after they get fired or they so-called lose their power, what happens when people get fired who are corrupt the government? They get a seven-figure contract with CNN or MSNBC or NBC or ABC or CBS or PBS or NPR, or somebody bails them out. And they don't get prosecuted. It was Trump's own DOJ which refused to prosecute Tony Podesta. Manafort, who's in prison for bad behaviors, Podesta did the same thing as Manafort, maybe not exactly, but as far as the worst things Manafort was accused of, the things that the judge is completely freaked out on because he was colluding with other governments. Podesta, he was a representative of foreign interests, and he doesn't declare all of his interests. The point is, Podesta and Manafort are the same person. Anyway, so well, Podesta, and Podesta, he did have to, anyway, he did like sell his company. I'm sure he restarted another one just like it. But the point is this: the people on the right and in the center who are never Trumpers, they have Trump derangement syndrome, just like the left. But the reason I'm calling it truth is because they can't handle the truth. They need someone, they can only handle the truth if it comes from someone who comports himself the way they or herself, the way they want the country club set. These are people on the right and in the center who belong to country clubs, and the people they hang out with, and they speak the same, they have the same elocution, they pull from the same lexicon, they like to wear the same clothes, shop at the same places. There's just a groupthink problem. And like I said, I hate the right because the right has always stabbed their friends in the back. That is the left figures out who their friends are and they get rid of them, but the right finds out who their friends are and then brings them in close and then stabs them in the back. And I've brought this up before, and people are so proud of William Buckley Jr. because he got rid of the John Birch Society, and they're so proud of Michael Pence because he got rid of they think he got rid of the Trump voters from the Republican Party. So it's all the same story with the Republicans. They can't stand success. They hate their friends more than they hate their enemies. This is a Liz Cheney story. Liz Cheney has been reprimanded by some Republicans, but it's a slap on the wrist. Liz Cheney should be forced to become a Democrat. Liz Cheney would rather have Biden as president than Trump, all because she doesn't like his tweets. I don't have Twitter. I don't care about someone's tweets. I care about their actions. And Trump's actions were, for the first time since he was even more Reagan-esque than Reagan. Reagan talked about trying to get the corruption out of government, but he didn't really do it. And he unfortunately, and Reagan, kind of like Trump in some respects, made some big mistakes, and they were mistakes to please the left. And and um, and Reagan's movement suffered for it, and Trump's movement has suffered for it because Trump too often, because of his children, he wanted to please leftist ideologues. But overall, though, Trump was still more Reagan than Reagan because Trump actually was willing to wake up every morning and go to battle with the evil left. So, but anyway, so I'm gonna call it truth or because people as Jack Nicholson playing Colonel Jessup. Anyway, as Jack Nicholson said, "A Few Good Men," you can't handle the truth. Well, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the people who have succeeded in life can't handle the truth, because the truth is they are successful. Most of them because they're corrupt. And I'm going to say Liz Cheney, and take a look at Richard Burr. Wasn't he a Republican in the Senate? He's corrupt. And then of course, and the Republicans, for some reason, they talk about they don't want corruption. What about Kelly Loeffler in Georgia? She's married to what, the head of the SEC or something. Anyway, the point is, the Republicans have to stop picking people who are susceptible to blackmail. So, truth derangement syndrome. I'll tell you what. No, no. The whole idea that there's buyer's remorse. No, the people who voted for Biden are extremely happy right now. And for those tiny sliver of never Trumpers who voted for Biden, who are now saying, well, we've got to fight against all these terrible people on the left who want to destroy the American experiment. It's your fault. The never Trumpers are the people who made this current reality happen. And the reason I call it truth deranged is because when you tell them that, when you tell the never Trumpers, when you tell the people on the right and in the center who voted for Biden that you're the problem, we already know the left. We already know the left is the problem. You're pretending you're not the problem because you can't handle the truth. The truth is, the right and the center do not like it when anyone calls out the left and correctly identifies them. I use the word evil. You better believe Republicans, conservatives, centrists, moderates, they all probably can't stand me because they're like, how dare you call Democrats evil? Sorry, I'm not going to stop. The political left is evil, and that's the truth. And you have a derangement syndrome based on people speaking the truth, not just Trump. Anyone who tells you the truth, for instance, what happened on January 6th, you're still in denial about that. Yes, I'm sure there were some Trump people who got out of control. But we're now starting to discover that there was some stuff going on behind the scenes, that the FBI knew a week before January 6th. They knew there were people coming there to do bad things. Why didn't the FBI do it? The FBI told people who were elected representatives in Washington, D.C., that bad things would happen on January 6th, and you probably want more security. No, didn't get more security on January 6th. So, anyway, that's today's video. TDS stands for truth derangement. Trump just represents an unpleasant truth, which is this country is corrupt all throughout the society. And it's not because of systemic racism, it's because of systemic power grabs. Systemic corruption isn't based on race in this country. The corruption is based on people who are already successful wanting more money and power. Mark Cuban doesn't have enough money and power. Neither does Buffett or Gates or Zuckerberg or Bezos or all the other people, the people who run Google. It's all the same thing. That if they had absolute authority over every human being on the planet, it still wouldn't be enough. Thanks for stopping by. Take care, and remember, the truth will set you free. But if you have a derangement syndrome, you'll never know what the truth is. Take care. Bye-bye.